Hi everybody, happy 2025. It's me, Crusty Old Crow, back giving you an update video on customs. Yeah, I'm doing something with my hands again. Such was my vow for 2025, my New Year's resolution, if you would, that I would actually get back to building things with my fingers again, despite living in chaos as my, waiting for my house to become my own, spreading out my hobby room from a small little room to a larger room, hopefully come April. I have a very confined workspace. So this video you're going to see is going to be me mostly voicing over what I'm showing you through pictures and some time-elapse photos and videos, pardon me, of two projects I'm working on. One being for my Jada Street Fighter 2 collection, and the other, of course, for my classified another 6-inch collection. One is going to be a fire escape alleyway kind of setting, and the other is going to be Destro's Keep. So I'm going to show you getting to the basic finished state almost of the alley one, and getting to about the halfway to 3/4 way point with the Destro's Keep diorama. And I'm just showing you these because I plan on continuing the Destro's Keep diorama, but not the alley one. The alley one won't have enough added to it to make its own separate video, so I'm just kind of throwing it in here, as that one was practice for doing Destro's Keep. Let me show you what I'm talking about. I'm going to show you first the fire escape dio in its where it is right now, which is incomplete, but complete enough that I can do things with it. When I'm showing it, I'm just letting you know, like, there's still details I have to add to it. There's little problems here and there that I want to fix, things I'd like to go over again. But the point of this one was to make it as relatively cheap as possible and accommodate these awesome Amazon shelves that I had been given for Christmas, which were meant to display my figures. And so I had to set about thinking about what I wanted to do with these shelves. I wanted to hang them immediately, but I didn't want to put them in this room, as this room was not going to be a toy room for more than a few more months. You can see the base of this is really rickety. I'm going to cover it up with something at some point when I think of it, just to give it a base, but really this is just meant to slip in a corner somewhere. It was about $12 to build. Okay. So what made me think of a rickety fire escape dio is when I was hanging with my son doing airsoft and thinking about ways not to get shot and how awesome my son looked in that Wraith Mace patch. I was also had spent the day looking at shelves for my kitchen, and it occurred to me, why not just build a shelf for this until I pick a room and hang it on a wall. So my son and I, we've done a lot of traveling. One of the places we've done is California. And one of the art pieces that always stuck in my mind was this wave, which I know isn't Californian in origin, but is all over California. And I wanted it for my wall, for my display. So I did my own rendition of it in my own little brain cannon way of explaining this, of a bloody wave, and it worked. So I made that the top level piece of my wall. And I realized that the signage and graffiti that would appear on this wall was kind of like these placeholders for how to complete it. So I set about just doing little Post-its to stick up here and there and across the wall, and eventually chip away at some of the details to try to make it look like an alleyway. And yes, of course, plug my channel, plug 3-Star Draw, and plug our backyard battlefield. Why not? It's my display. I can do what I want. Little things like card display holders for hockey cards, and a lot of balsa wood and little knickknacks here and there, craft paper and craft felt, and little bottles and things like that. All of it I had at hands. That's why you see it. When I think of it and I think of a way to add it, I did. But when it came to the brick, I wanted to be sloppy because I really didn't want this to be something that absorbed all of my time. So I just used the cardboard, because by this point I had already acquired what I was going to use for my next project. You can see it in the corner there, that LOL castle. So I was learning a lot as I was doing this on what I wanted to do with the castle and not do with this. And again, this is a Jada Street Fighter display. So let's populate that Street Fighter stuff on it. So yeah, I used that as just like a build up to get inspired to handle the castle, which I'm going to show you all the stuff I'm using to build the castle as we go. This is some preschool basic arts and crafts stuff. If you're looking for any advanced techniques on how to do anything, you're probably looking at the wrong guy. I am a kiss rule walk and kiss me, I'm stupid, and I like to keep it simple, stupid. So, what you're gonna need for stuff like this, and I'll show you the castle in a minute, is you're gonna need a glue gun. And of course, with that, you'll need your supply of glue. You'll need some scissors, some containers for cut up pieces that you're gonna want to keep or not discard, stuff for your paint to mix, paints and water mixing containers, some dollar store paints, because when I'm painting polystyrene and cheap wood, I don't feel like using my Vallejo and my good stuff. I'll use the cheap stuff and I'll just lay it on thick. Some Gorilla wood glue is well advised, as is some excess cardboard and any kind of wood and stock you got around. And then, of course, you want some cheap paintbrushes that you can do without, and some very sharp X-Acto cutting tools would be critical. I used the cardboard because I don't want to glue anything directly to this this castle until it is all completed, because I am doing this in a modular based system, and I'll talk about all the modular pieces as we go. But for now, let's go over and see what I'm using to keep Silent Castle alive here. Okay. And what I'm using is from a thrift shop I found for 15 bucks, this massive LOL, I believe it is, dollhouse, just sitting there. It had this extendable piece, and yes, I do have the components that slide in there somewhere else, but that is a removable slide piece, and to me, that was a feature that got my eye, as was the entire size of this, the density of the wood, and how firmly constructed it was. The spiral staircase didn't hurt either. You don't see many of those intact with these kind of things, and of course, the scale was appropriate for what I wanted to do, which was going to be a castle of sorts. And as I continued to think about it, it had to be Destro's castle. But there you can see I've got a helicopter landing pad, which I will stick flight pods or air chariots upon, or a Fang if they ever come out. But in case you were wondering, does it fit? Yes, I can absolutely tell you the Dragonfly does fit on this landing pad. So it could appear there again someday for some reason relevant. But with a project like this, I can't necessarily commit to that helicopter landing zone being where it is, because I'm trying to build some sort of reflection of a silent castle or silent keep for Destro. So yeah, you could land a helicopter on there, but I think I'm going to make it smaller just for flight pods and Cobra relevant vehicles. Just like the lower level has some features that you see I've taken away the glass panes. This is because I plan on building up both these platform levels to make it look more castle-like than, say, Barbie Dream Home, right? Or whatever the product is. So I've talked enough about whether or not I can do a helicopter there. Yes, I can, but I'm going to build it up and still use it as a display space for the vehicles, because it is a larger spot. Here, I plan on maybe building up some walling just to level things off with that upper level. I don't really want it uneven. I want maximum display space. I picture this being the reception area of people landing or dispatch. So this is, I think, going to be some sort of flight control area for the castle. I thought I should have it, just explaining what I see in the rooms. Then you have your assembly feature where I can put more figures in there, and then a separate room. And this thing has these glass panes on the side. I'm not sure if I'm gonna incorporate them just to try and cast some lighting into this, but I do plan on putting some electrical lighting in it in a couple of different ways. But this area is pretty wide. It can display a lot of figures if you let it. This area less, of course. But what I like about this is it's got the doorways and the archways and an interactive elevator system, which I think could be fun to try and figure out how that make that look like a, you know, Gothic-y castle kind of feel. But what I didn't like was that we have a separation to this other room that I can't, you know, I can't explain. It's a Simpsons style door, and because of the compressed space between that nice spiral staircase and that wall, I have to be very careful on the component that I used to cover that. And you'll see that a little bit later as I show you those components. But you can see very solid wood, mason board or whatever. Yes, the disco ball I don't think is staying where it is, although I really want to keep it for Destro. You know, I do. But again, all of these background art and everything you're going to see is going to get covered up. And then this slider piece, eventually, it can do nothing more than hide in there unless I cover it up and turn it into a parade ground for maybe the Destro's Iron Grenadiers or the Crimson Guard or whoever. I considered even putting it on the other side of this to help work out that front facial facade when I tackle that in part 2. So what I'm going to show you now is where I'm at the end of part 1 as far as all the components I'm throwing in here to castle this bitch up. Stay tuned. Here we go. Well, if you made it this far in the video, you must be interested enough. I'm going to monopolize your time for that like, share, subscribe again, because it's going to be relevant when we do part 2 of Silent Keep here for Destro and your G.I. Joe classified displays. That's when we're going to do our contest for thanking you guys for letting us hit 500. I got to get it out before we hit 600, but, you know, life on life's terms, guys. But I just wanted to show you what I'm going to be giving away. 3 prizes. All right, prize number 1, G.I. Joe number 1 with Cobra Commander cover, and follow it up with the number 2 issue. All right. Prize number 2, G.I. Joe number 1, 2, and 3. Again, these are all the new Energon U Skybound, so if you've missed these, I'll get you caught up. One of yous, one lucky guy or girl. All right, and then our other prize, again, thank you very much, all of you, for 500. I'll be giving somebody another copy of G.I. Joe number 1 and whatever that thing is there, with Once a Man Cobra Commander, complete with the shipping box that says so. All right, again, thank you very much, guys. I've been enjoying my year or so, more than a year on YouTube, only at the mercy of your guys' interaction and responses to what I'm putting out there. So this will just be a quick thank you. The contest will be simple, but it will involve like, sharing, and subscribing. So if you want to do that for this video, it's not going to win anything. The part 2, it will. But you can do that for this video. It'd be gratefully helpful. Hey, listen, let's get back to this Silent Keep part 1. And now I'm going to show you how I did the interior in a montage of time elapsed and narrative. All right, thanks very much. This whole construct is basically just dollar store materials, paper, and just polystyrene. Here you can see I pre-cut pieces of polystyrene that I've cut into rocks, pre-cut pieces of paper that I'd used to just lend support to these dollar store wooden frames that I had. And I'll build a big rock display wall for the heads of Destro's enemies or whatever other trophies he wants to put in there. If I want to later install a little dollar store raindrop lighting or any of that kind of stuff, I can. But here you can see it's just a matter of layering down glue and then playing a giant game of Tetris while I put brick after brick after brick, or stone after stone as it were. And I can literally say I built Destro's castle stone by stone. And so I wasn't really worried about the symmetry of bricking here, just so much as everything fit in. And there you go. So that worked over as I came up with other things like, do I want Destro to have a throne? Well, I sure did. And this little novelty pen holder I found at a value store, when flipped on its back or side, made a nice throne kind of case. So I decided to develop that. You can see I'm using the same techniques here. I even made a little light slot for it so I can install lighting later, even dollar store lighting or novelty lighting, or the railway lighting I have on plan. But overall, it's just a matter of patience, and it's actually relaxing and kind of zen to sit there, listen to a movie or watch YouTube or whatever, and just slowly chip away at these things. What you're seeing is probably about a week's worth of work. But yeah, I wear the same sweater and pants because I don't care if they get messy. I love that sweater, and I love those pants for the fact that they are hopelessly paint splattered. Anyways, yeah, layering this all on, and nothing here was expensive. It just, like I said, I probably went through about $10 worth of hot glue. Here you can see I built it up. I've already done some painting, but here I'm building I'm using wire and the polystyrene to build the arch of a chair for Destro. Just little tricks like that I plan on continuing on as we do part 2, part 3, and build this castle up with more and more detail as we go along. But I'm just showing you how simple, and it is time consuming, but it is, like I said, kind of zen, kind of relaxing. I'm gluing as I go, I'm test fitting, and everything is working out well there. So this next part, you see me putting it in there, test fit all the way. And I've even cut up some novelty chairs from like a little thrift store chair to make it more form-fitting. Here you can see this is how I go about making my bricks. I am just chopping sterling. If you guys remember Dana Carvey, chopping broccoli, I'm chopping sterling. Same as the wood, the balsa wood. This is for making frames so that I can get that old wooden feel with some of the stone on the walls. You know, some cross supports here and there, some slapped together tunnelways, but it all needs wood. You can't have the stone without the wood. And you can see I'm just easy with the X-Acto blade. It's not thick wood, it's balsa wood, and it goes together pretty easily with a hot glue gun. And then I'm going to fill in all of that with polystyrene. I think I put this one up twice. Oopsie, silly me. All right, the next one's going to be up for the reception. It's just, you know, you can build out detail this way, and it doesn't take a lot of time. If I wanted to get rid of this, I could if it didn't work out. But this is going to be part of that air traffic room that I was talking about. I wanted to build a desk or a reception area. Yeah, you're going to get some little hairs of that hot glue there, but whatever. Now I'm using Gorilla Glue to fill in with the rock. Again, very relaxing. This one, I wanted it more presentable, and you start playing with tricks with the rock when you get to do an old stone castle. You'll see one that I did of the Cobra logo made out of rock, and you'll see some decorative archways that I started playing around with, right? And you'll see those probably more in parts 2, 3, whatever, however long this video goes. But it really doesn't take a lot of time to get this done, and the end result really starts looking good once you start getting the paint. Here I'm doing flooring, all right? Some dollar store fake kitchen backing makes some great flooring for marble flooring for this. So yeah, again, balsa wood to do that outer trim, and I don't do that for all the flooring, but this is a very formal floor, and I want it to be part of that reception area. You'll see later I had to cut a groove out because I forgot about that desk I was building in. But again, simple, easy to do, combination of hot glue and other glues, and there you go. I think this is the last one where you see me actually just putting the bricks in, and you can see I was playing with some decorative stuff there, but you can start to see all the other stuff has already been like painted and dry brushed at that point. It's all just waiting a wash. But we're going to get into the painting here in a second. As I just finish up, you can see me smearing the glue in there. And these door archways are going to, all of these are going to cover what that LOL castle has going. So now it's time to do that paint. I just mix up some black and white dollar store paint and use some dollar store brushes, because then I don't care what happens to them. And I wedge that in as best as I can. Eventually I have to water that paint down to try and get into some of the nooks and crannies where the rock shows what's behind it. And you can see I apply it even to the wood. Again, another time-consuming process, but I think grand total so far, I've gone through 2 bottles of black and, one bottle of black, 1 bottle of white, and a little bit more white, I believe, paint, as well as some burnt umber brown, which I will later use on the wood, just to break that up and show that there's wood in the castle. So we'll just keep painting away at that. Now, I don't, like I said, I don't use my good paints for this, but you might, for some of the dry brushing, end up using better paints if you want certain tones and textures. Dollar store paint is very limited, but it's a cheap supply, a quick mix, and unfortunately they don't sell gray, or I could save myself a lot of time. At least they don't have in my area. But I'm going to follow all of this this base coating up with the dark gray. I'm going to follow it up with a lighter gray for dry brushing. I think, yeah, you just see me finishing off this glass doorway. And I'm also going to paint the burnt umber onto the wooden parts to break up that structure, like I said. All of this being done while pasted onto the back of a piece of cardboard. That'll help me glue these things into the walls when it comes time to glue them in. What you don't see is I worked in small pipes and things like that into some of the walls. While it's a castle, it still has a water supply, things like that. And I've got this particular piece has a photo background for figure poses of another tomb entrance wall inside. You'll see that later in the videos to just a little bit more storytelling in the back, but I had to bring out depth on that, so I built extra layers on it. Again, just killing time showing you guys. Can you imagine if I had shown you all of this while I was doing it? This video would be 3 days long. All right, so now we'll get into some dry brushing. Yeah, showing you where I went with that and just how quickly it can happen. Just boom, 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 dry brush done, right? A little sneak peek, you see some more flooring, dry brush done, boom, boom, boom. And I'm using the minimalist amount of paint on that brush, and I am just beating the crap out of it. Sometimes I splotch it, sometimes I give clean strokes, and that's done. And then a black wash, which is really just dirty paint water with a bit of black paint. And I just dab that and drip that on, let that flow where it needs to. And that's going to bring out some stone highlights and just make it look a bit more weathered. Let that soak, and it's nice. The polystyrene soaks that up real nice. And I'm not putting it on heavy. I'm not saturating it. I'm just letting it flow down that rock line. And that's pretty much it. That's how I do the walls, the floors, and the archways. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all those doors and archways and everything and slap them in here, okay? So by the time I'm ready to do part 2, I'll still have some ceilings to do, some floor, a bit more flooring to do, an entire side room left to put more stuff into. We are not going to get this done, but you are going to see just a big difference in how this looks and where it's all going to go. I should mention also, I don't know how these videos are going to go in the days to come with CapCut now being under scrutiny there in the US. I am in Canada, so I'm running with it. We're making this a longer video, but if it does become a problem through YouTube channels to air my videos, I might have to reduce these to smaller chapters. Anyways, guys, let's start fitting some pieces in.